It's live and local now. It is Wednesday. It is hump day. Guess who's here? Well, not exactly here, but she's with us on our City National Bank guest hotline. We're talking about AmyTarkanian, the former chair of the Nevada Republican Party, the wife of Danny Tarkanian, a candidate and a front runner, it looks like, in CD3. Amy, how you been?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine. You guys had a big fundraiser the other night. With Herman Cain.
We did.
And how did it go?
It went great. We had a wonderful turnout. Actually, it was packed from wall to wall. It was a little difficult to move around, which is always a good problem, right, for a fundraiser. We had all kinds of people that were excited about the move that the president had asked my husband to switch from the Senate race to Congressional District 3. People were pleased to find out that we have support of the White House. They were pleased. We had the higher-ups from the Venetian actually in attendance. We have support from the grassroots. So, I mean, you can't complain about that, right? I mean,
Nope.
We're pretty pumped.
That is absolutely great. And by the way, I've been seeing this. I saw in Jeff Gillen's piece last night on News 3, this new Breitbart poll that came out, or that was commissioned by Breitbart, and it showed Danny at 37%.
Yes. And that, I mean, that happened, I believe that took place over the weekend while the transition was en route. So, the White House, obviously, they were able to see, from 10,000 feet up above, the lay of the land. We had a really good friend of ours who was in that race at that time, and she was very classy, and that was Victoria. And Victoria decided to step aside to help with the president's choice of wanting Danny in that race. And unfortunately, the others didn't follow her suit. But the president's team, they felt Danny was going to be their best shot to take Congressional District 3, and we weren't too pleased with that at first because we were so focused on the Senate race. But they know what's best, hopefully, and we're got our marching orders and we're moving forward.
I want you to take us behind the scenes if you can. This I know, having talked to Danny personally, this was an agonizing choice, and really it was one that wasn't really a choice. When the president asks you to do something, you say, yes, Mr. President, I'll do it. Take us behind the scenes. How tough was this decision? When did the decision actually get made?
Well, I'm not going to even sugarcoat this. It was extremely difficult, and I would say it was more so difficult because of our friendship with Victoria. This was not something that we had envisioned, not something that we had even thought twice about. I was actually supporting Victoria. I endorsed Victoria. And so when this was brought to our attention, Danny had received a call from the president, I think it was about a week and a half or so, before our filing date was set, and he missed the call. He was on a donor call for the Senate race and didn't recognize the number, so he didn't click over. So when he listened to the voicemail, it was the president's executive assistant, Madeline, saying, hey, the president would like to speak with you. Can you please return our call? Blah, 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 blah. So he returned the call, and at that time, the president was in another meeting, of course, and so he needed to call us back. Well, he didn't call us back right away. So we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know, was he calling to say, hey, Danny, great job. Thanks for getting Senator Heller on board with me. Was he going to say, hey, Danny, do you have it? Can you help me get basketball tickets to the next Running Rebels game? Hey, Danny, can you tell Amy to quit talking on television? Who knows? We didn't know what he was going to say. So there was no need to have a discussion with anyone. And then on Wednesday, Danny gets a call from Brad, who is the president's campaign manager, and that's where everything just started to unravel as far as us being in the Senate race. And Danny had some very heated discussions with Brad, and we had a number of phone calls also from other people in government affairs departments, from just different groups, also Government Affairs Department from the White House, and they were calling both of our phones. And so finally, it came down to, hey, look, if this is what the president actually wants, and this is the way, Danny's been campaigning to push the America First agenda forward and to help and assist the president in any way he can, then you need to make that public, because otherwise we're not making that move, and we're not going to be jerks, and this was not our intent. So you need to make your plans known publicly, and then we can move forward. And so literally we had 2 sets of messaging ready to go until the president made his known process public. So his thought process public. And so before that tweet happened, we honestly had, a message of Danny's going to file for Senate, or Danny's going to file for Congress, District 3. And so then the president made it known public, and there you have it. So that started the ball rolling.
AmyTarkanian joining us on our City National Bank guest hotline. To those who are out there across the state who volunteered, who donated money, who supported Danny's Senate run, what do you say to them? Because some of these people, not all of them, but there is a segment, I'm sure, that even at this late date are a little upset and feel, if not betrayed, certainly feel like they're a victim of hardball politics. What would you say to those people that maybe even today have their nose bent out of joint a little bit about this?
Well, hey, we had our nose bent out of joint. So this isn't something that we envisioned. This isn't something we ever even planned at all. So to say that this was an easy move for us, no, not at all. I understand if people are disappointed. I understand if some people are still upset. I get that. But, there's not a lot of time. We have to focus on Susie Lee, who's going to be the general opponent for Danny. This is crucial. If the president is intervening and stepping up into your race, then obviously they feel that it's equally, if not more important as well. We don't have time to sit here and wallow in the whys and the how comes. And I told Danny the same thing. I said, look, I'm giving you, the weekend, and you're going to have to pick yourself up from the floor. We were in shock, and we got to move forward. And that's exactly what we've done. And it hasn't been easy, but that's exactly what we're doing. And I know that there are a lot of people actually that are super excited and very understanding of why we are where we are. Once again, if, Danny getting into the Senate race really helped align some of the other Senate folks to jump on board with the president's agenda, then you know what? Brownie points for Danny. Kudos to him. I'm very proud of him. And he also got the president's attention. If the Senate folks who have now jumped on the president's bandwagon fall back to their squishy ways, then you know whose fault that is. It's not Danny's. So people can sit there and say, hey, you know what? Let's do the right thing. Let's move together in a unified fashion. You've got to get out there and support Danny for Congress. You got to get out there and support Dean. You've got to get out there and support all the down-ticket Republicans, because last time what happened is we had, at that point, candidate Trump, and we had our top-of-the-ticket people not all on board, and it crushed the entire Republican ticket. This time we have President Trump. The economy is doing well. We've got so many positive things to look forward to that I don't believe we're going to have that problem. So we need to really look at the positives and be grateful for where we're at and move forward together.
Speaking of moving forward, we're going to look ahead in the CD3 race and maybe even beyond the primary into a general election with Susie Lee. We'll talk about that. AmyTarkanian joining us on our City National Bank guest hotline. More with her coming up live and local now. Now, so good to have you with us. Kevin Wall with you until 12 noon. Joining us, Amytarkanian on our City National Bank guest hotline. She is the former chair of the Nevada Republican Party. She is the spouse of Danny Tarkanian, was running in CD3. No, not the Senate, CD3, Congressional District 3. And she joins us on our City National Bank guest hotline. Amy, you were talking about that highly successful fundraiser with Herman Cain the other night. Let me just ask you, I'm wondering if now, after moving out of the race against Dean Heller and into the CD3 race with the support and the endorsement of the president, are you finding that that's opening more doors fundraising-wise for Danny, for instance? Is he getting more gaming money now? Does he have more access to folks down on the Strip?
Yes. I mean, he did, while he was running in the Senate, he did still have a lot of support. Let's not diminish that, because that's why he chose that race in the first place, where, a whole bunch of people actually wanting him to run for Senate. But yes, this does open, how about different types of doors that wouldn't have been open in the other race. When you go up against an incumbent, it makes people nervous, and it makes them hesitate on wanting to support, because historically incumbents do win re-election. So, you don't want to create enemies by giving the opponent money. So yes, it does open up different doors. So we are very happy with that. And he does have the full support of the White House by making this move. He does have the full support of the National Republican Congressional Committee. And so there are folks out there, too, who like both Danny and Dean Heller, but, were reluctant maybe to give to both, or maybe they wanted to give a little bit of both, but, just weren't sure how the cards were going to be played. So, yes, this does help tremendously. So, along with, bringing in people like Herman Cain is such a good friend of ours that he would have done it no matter what Danny was running for. I mean, he loves Danny. So, I'm feeling really good about this. And you've got to feel real good, too, when your Democrat opponent is already sending out email fundraising letters attacking you. So, I mean, she's even said it herself. We've actually deemed her Socialite Susie, or you can also call her Socialist Susie, whichever one works best for your vocabulary.
Ooh.
Yes, but in her email blast, she actually said Danny Tarkanian now has the weight of the entire Republican political machine behind him. Who wouldn't like that? Sounds good to me.
Why? Tell me everything you know about Susie Lee. All I know is she's mega rich. She may self-fund a race. She won't need Emily's List, although she'll probably get Emily's List. Tell me what you know about her. Is she a flaming liberal? Is she a moderate? Is she going to be liberal enough for the far left of the Democrat Party? Tell me what you know about Susie Lee.
Well, I'm getting to know a little bit more about her. Obviously, we've had to hurry up and do some research on her and do some studying, but she is definitely progressive. She's not middle of the road. Yes, she can self-fund. I know that she and her husband, they own 17 homes. They have a private jet. He, I believe, did something for, the MGM. So she's a philanthropist. She is a socialite. But, she's already involved herself with things like the March for Our Lives, against the Second Amendment. She's already, I saw retweeted some things dealing with NARAL, which is the most pro-abortion group out there. So there are some huge differences between her and my husband. Huge. And you know what? You can't knock her for being well off, because you know what? God bless a person who's actually done well financially. But she's touting herself as the middle class, lower class champion who understands what people are feeling, which I kind of find that funny.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Any indication on when she's going to be going up on TV or radio? And in your view, has the general election campaign begun? It seems like both sides are queuing up the powder to go to war.
Yes, absolutely. It is general election time. You mentioned the Breitbart poll. Everyone who decided to stay on the Republican side, and they're touting that they're, wanting to make America great again and wanting to praise the president's agenda, and they decided to stay in the race. Shame on them. They should have taken a step back and looked at why they're actually in this race. It's a little self-absorbed, I believe, for those people to have remained in this race when it's very clear that the president asked Danny to take this on. And in that Breitbart poll, they all register I think one of them was 1%, the other one was 9%. The other one barely registered, I think at maybe 9 or 10%. And then Danny blows everyone away. So at this point, yes, it is a general race. It is Danny and Susie, and that's the way the national folks are looking at it. That's the way the local folks are looking at it. So that's what we are focused on.
If folks want to help you, folks want to put yard signs in, they want to work call banks, they want to give you money. What the heck? If they want to give you money for the CD3 race, where do they go? How do they find you guys?
We definitely, your time, treasure, and talent, whatever it is that you are willing to donate to us, we definitely need help with walking. We need help with phone calls. We need help if you want to put together meet and greets. If you want to introduce us to maybe people who can donate. If you can just donate $10, if you can donate $1,000. I mean, we need it all because Susie Lee can self-fund, and the Democrats are really good at already donating the maximum amount of contributions to her, and she hasn't even put a penny of her own money in. So we need everyone's help. Go to TARKNV.com, TARKNV.com.
Amy, always good. We'll see you out on the campaign trail. Hopefully we'll get you in studio next time. You have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
You too. Thanks, Kevin.
That's AmyTarkanian. I love her. Love her husband.